most of the time I hear in your marriage, you have 50-50, right? 50%. It's a 50%, one person, and the other 50% comes from the other person. And I do not agree 100% with that, because I don't want to bring my 50%. I want to bring my 100% to him. And in return, I'm expecting the 100% from him as well.
You are now listening to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast with your host, George Valenzuela.
This is education coach George Valenzuela. Welcome to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast, where I provide all educators, whether instructional leaders or teachers, tips on how to be their best both personally and professionally. Now let's get into it. We're here today with my very good friends, Omar and Fely Lopez. They are very well known in the edtech space of education. Omar is an instructional technology specialist with the Region 1 Education Center in South Texas, and Fely is an educator innovation lead at Microsoft Flip. They are both very talented and an inspiration. How are you?
Hey, hermano, we're doing great. We're super excited to be here with you and your audience, your community.
Yeah. So it's wonderful that we get to be together and do work on another project together. So that's amazing. So we thank you for the invitation and thank everybody who's watching and listening.
I met Omar and Fely at a dinner in Grand Padre Island in South Texas, and they sat across from me and we got to know each other a little bit. And anyone who knows me knows that marriage is very important to me, but it's also something that has taken me a long time to figure out. And for other people, it's the same thing. It's hard to figure out. But Fely and Omar appear to have the type of marriage and relationship that most people want. So I had to get them on the show to learn their secrets. This is the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast. And on this show, we focus on self-improvement by interviewing people who are excelling in the important areas of their lives so that we can learn from them to experience similar success. Fely, what do you believe are the most important qualities for a successful marriage? And Omar, hermano, feel free to jump in at any time.
That's such a great question, hermano. And I think some of the important qualities for a successful marriage include communication. That's key. That's number one. Trust, mutual respect, empathy, compromise, and also a shared vision, the future together. And of course, love, right? The key. In a combination of all of these, it's a great combination to be able to go through everything together. But I'm going to say that communication is the key right here.
Fely brings up a great point on communication and that shared vision together. It's always about communicating of what our goals are and how we're going to get there and what we need to do, and talk about some potential obstacles in the way and being empathetic of when we're trying to meet a goal, when we're trying to get there something. It's understanding what the other person is going through or what we're doing together and how we're going to do this together. So when we have that common vision of where we want to be as parents, where we want to be as a couple, where we want to be as professionals, because we feed off of each other as well. It's communicating, understanding, and respecting what the other person is doing. And that all ties into that shared vision that Fely mentions.
Something that I want to add right here is also, hermano, most of the time I hear in your marriage, you have 50-50, right? 50%. It's a 50%, one person, and the other 50% comes from the other person. And I do not agree 100% with that, because I don't want to bring my 50%. I want to bring my 100% to him. And in return, I'm expecting the 100% from him as well.
One of the things that really impressed me about you two is how you put each other first. The purpose of a relationship should be to give, not to take. A lot of people don't know is that when you get into a relationship, you're going there to give and you're going there to love unconditionally. And love, yes, it's a feeling. It goes up and down, right? But it's also a verb. It's an action that you do even on the days that you're not feeling it or something is going on in your life. So I totally agree. But I saw in you guys is differently. You guys are putting each other first. You're anticipating what the other needs, whether it's salt, whether it's a kind word, whether it's a touch, and then you guys act accordingly. And I'll be honest, in 2024, you don't see a lot of that.
That comes when we understand each other. I guess we like to finish each other's sentences. I like to finish sentences more often than she does. It's understanding when you mentioned when we give, we get a lot more in return. And it's not only in
Mm.
marriage, it works perfectly, but in life, in the workplace, in the community, when you give without expecting anything, it's just because it's the right thing to do, because it's the other person deserves that, or because you can. If we can give, we should, right? And that's what it's all about. And it all comes back to us. And I'm glad you highlighted that for us. We take care of each other, and automatically our needs as one are also taken care of.
For all the folks out there listening, your life is about you. If you're single, it's all about you. But when you get married or you're in a long-term relationship, it's about the other person. They come first. Omar, how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within the marriage?
It's understanding that we're not going to agree on everything. A lot of times you hear that saying, it's okay, I agree to disagree. That works well. But what has kept us really grounded is that shared vision that Feli talked about earlier, that she mentioned. Having that vision, and what is it that we're working towards as a family, as parents, raising our two boys, and keeping a house with our work life, that's very busy too.
In school?
And school, yeah. It's understanding that there will be disagreements, but what is the ultimate goal for us as one, right? When we have that vision, and I might want a new fishing rod, but Feli won't. If it's not in the vision, it's not in the plan, then she's going to let me know. If she wants a new pair of shoes, then I'm going to say, hey, you already have 300 pairs of shoes. Why do we need 301? If the disagreement, what I want is not aligned with our core values, is not aligned with our purpose in life as a couple, then I have to understand that Feli's bringing up a great point. And even though we're not on the same page on that particular situation, it's understanding that it's going to be okay because it's for the both of us.
And it's also about perspectives. We talk about, okay, this is the way I see it, but it might not be the way you see it. So let's look at the things from the different perspectives, because that's also something that needs to be taken into consideration. It's different because you might see things from a different perspective. We're not going to agree all the time. We will be lying if we were to say that we are going to agree on everything all the time. Sometimes we disagree. It's always about, okay, taking the time. Let's look at things from your perspective, right? I always use the analogy of the different glasses, right? Looking at life from different perspective with a different pair of glasses. Maybe this is what you think it's important for you to go to the store and buy this new fishing equipment. And maybe I think it is important for me to buy this pair of shoes. This is where the idea is coming from. And then you're understanding why I'm bringing that to the conversation or to the plan. But it's being respectful with those perspectives, but always taking the time to say, okay, hold on. Let's talk about it. Let's analyze it. Let me see what you're thinking, where you're coming from, and coming to an agreement. It's an agreement.
Omar, can you share any strategies or rituals that have helped keep your bond strong over the years? And before you answer that, tell us, how many years have y'all been together?
We are going on 24 years this July. So yes, 24 years, almost two and a
Wow.
half decades. It's been amazing. Rituals, a lot of what we do, we are constantly laughing. We laugh quite a bit when we're together, and she says, "You're so crazy," and I'm like, "Tú también." That's part of it. But also being like a cheerleader. Feli says, I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan, right? So being a cheerleader for each other and being that support and understanding that I got your back, understanding that we're in this together, and knowing we are going to have some off days. We're going to have some days where we're not all 100%. So when she's not, then I got to be on my toes. And then the same thing for her, that I might have had a bad day at work and she's my cheerleader. She's my supporter all the time. So being part of that team and understanding that we got each other's back.
Like Omar said, is constant communication, but it's also the laughing, having fun. Being married, it shouldn't be boring. It's not a business transaction. It's about being with the person that you love the most, and you want to be with that person, and you want your everything, right? You want to do everything with that person. But it's also show gratitude and appreciation.
Yeah.
Show and say thank you. Every time we go out, he opens the door for me. And when we're about to get to the car, he opens the door for me. And I always go, thank you, amor. Because I appreciate those details. Those things are important. And the same here at home or at work or with the kids. that show of gratitude and appreciation is also key. Every morning I wake up, I say thank you, and I look at him and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so in love. So it's been 24 years and it will be more years.
Yes.
That is a blessing. People out there listening, don't forget gratitude, aka appreciation, being each other's cheerleader, but most importantly, laughing and enjoying the moment. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, and share this episode with your family, friends, and colleagues who are interested in self-improvement through lifelong learning. And now for a word from one of our sponsors.
We had the pleasure of listening to George this morning on project-based learning, and he shared his story that his aunt encouraged him to go into education. And she was absolutely right. He's so talented at sharing information in a way that is easy to digest and is inspiring to go back and actually implement and make change.
So my takeaway is that Mr. Valenzuela was very inspiring. He was very motivational and helped me to think about a new way of getting my teachers excited.
When I set out to do a workshop, my key deliverable is energy. And this momentum is used to make connections, inspire, educate, and ultimately transform the audience so that they're compelled to take that same energy back to their schools and communities. And although we have fun, we tackle the hard topics of today, like educational policy, pedagogy for improving curriculum and instruction, and empowering today's students by connecting our work to the needs of the workforce. So please consider Lifelong Learning Defined for your next keynote, workshop, or conference, and overall instructional and educational coaching needs. My name is George, and I hope to connect with you soon.
We would love to have him come and do some work with us and help us be a little more successful and help our students to be more successful.
Are technology issues slowing you down at your school? If that's the case, look no further than 5-Star Technology's Virtual Help Desk. Their team of experts are available to support you remotely, resolving up to 40% of common issues, like password resets, device connectivity, and lots more. With just a few clicks, you'll have access to their live chat from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Just enter your email to get started. Then you'll live chat with one of 5-Star's EdTech experts to diagnose your problem. And if their virtual help desk agent can't solve the issue completely, they will dispatch the ticket to your school's on-site tech team. Let 5-Star Technology Solutions be your support partner. Experience their virtual help desk, which is affordable, efficient, and always there for you. Please contact them at 5startech.com/contact us. Once again, 5startech.com/contact us. And for your convenience, you'll find this link in the episode show notes. I want to point something out for the audience. To achieve what Fely and Omar have, you have to want to be happy, not want to be right. If you want to be right, if you're that type of person, you're not going to have a relationship like that.
That's a great point because, as we mentioned earlier, there's going to be disagreements. You need to want to be happy.
Trust me, what I said about being happy and being right is from experience. I ruined many relationships in being right. I learned my lesson. Now I want to be happy. Omar, how do you maintain a sense of individuality while also prioritizing your marriage?
We have so much in common that helps. I know I have the support of Fely on whatever it is that I want to venture out and do. I can be myself with total freedom because I know that if I need more support, she's going to give me support. If I need more ideas to expand where I feel like, okay, I've hit a block, how can I continue? Then she's going to be my go-to person because I still feel that I've become more me because of her. She's nurtured that person that I have inside into being an individual, but an individual that plays a big role in our marriage.
Like Omar was saying, it's about being there for the person that you love. And when you talk about individuality, it's also prioritizing the relationship, but you also have to be you. So I can tell you that I can be me with him. I'm not hiding anything. I know he is him. He brings himself into the equation. And that's the reason why I said every day that I wake up, I am more in love with him, because it's the person that he was, that he is, and the person that he's becoming. So you're
Yes,
always
yes.
growing, you're always getting better. We're always trying to do something to get better for each other, for our kids, for the people that we work with, for our students, right? Because the both of us are also in education, we're also teachers, and for the people around us. It's a combination of the both of us so that the relationship can be successful.
As a kid, trust was something that wasn't modeled for me. How to earn it, how to give it. I went into many of my relationships blindly, trusting everyone and getting burned. By the time I got to my wife, I didn't trust in the beginning. She had to earn it. The thing with her is that she was always very trusting from the very beginning. Later on, through the years, I was able to ask her, hey, that was so hard for me. It was so easy for you. And she said, I grew up in a household where I had a mother and father, where love and trust was modeled for me, and you didn't. So I had to earn yours. Me, I just gave it to you. If you disappoint me, that's you. That's not me. That's on you. It's not my fault that I trusted you. It's your fault that you broke the trust. Once I got that lesson, it made my life completely free, because now we do see each other all the time. But when we don't see each other, I already know that everything's okay. That I can be an individual, she can be an individual. And then when we come together, then we're one. I think a lot of people don't have that in their lives. That's a sad place to be, I think.
It is sad. It's difficult for individuals and that try to be two different people. I'm going to be one person when I'm with my friends, when I'm at work, when I'm outside away from my wife. And then when I'm with my wife, I'm going to be somebody else. That's horrible. It's exhausting. When you get to be yourself with the person you love the most and you're accepted for that, then that just propels you to be more and just continue growing that person. When you pretend to be somebody else, then that's when things do not work.
People out there listening, if you're in a relationship or have friendships where you need to code switch 24/7, those aren't real relationships. And now for a word from one of our sponsors. If you're a STEM and PBL teacher like me, you're always on the lookout for new project ideas and resources. You know George does PBL, and I'm telling you, look no further than SmartLab. SmartLab really has a fresh take on STEM and PBL. I'm proud to be a partner, and they sponsor the podcast. But just don't take my word for it. Check out what other educators are saying about SmartLab.
When students enter into SmartLab, they are allowed to think outside of traditional norms.
It gives them a lot of agency. They feel empowered and important. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of the Smart Lab environment and the way the project process is set up.
Smart Lab becomes this place where they can do those things and have the time and space to communicate better and even deal with social emotional stuff. They're having a bad day. A Smart Lab's a place where we can change the pace of what they're learning to match their mental needs for the day. And that comes back tenfold later on when they want to be there and they want to learn and they want to do stuff and they feel safe and they feel like they can get the things they need.
That's one of the big benefits of being in more of a collaborative environment is it makes you have to work. It makes you have to be accountable.
Please look in this episode's show notes for a link to connect with SmartLab. Fely. Most of our friends are educators, and most of our friends, our close friends, are in the consulting business or in the speaking business. How do you both support each other's careers and aspirations? Because you both are superstars.
I'm going to go back here again to the key word that we've been using, which is communication. And one of the things that it's been very successful is talk about, okay, what is it that you want to do and how are we going to get there? We don't focus our attention on problems. We focus our attention on solutions and the path that is going to get us there. We will accomplish it, but what is the plan? What is it that we have to do to get you to where you want to be or to get me where I want to be? Calendars is also something that we've always used. We have a specific time during the week when we sit down and say, okay, what do you have this week? Do you have main events going on at your work? How can I help you? Because being in a relationship is about service. Like, how can I help you? If you're going to have, Omar offers a lot of PD sessions. I ask the question, are you ready for your session? Is there anything I can help you with? Or anything I can help you with? I'm always here for you. And vice versa, right? We talk about our week. We usually do this Saturdays and Sundays before the week starts for us. And we align those ideas, we align those goals, and we're also making sure that I provide the help if needed, right? Or the encouragement, or both, right? Because the help might not be needed, but the encouragement is always welcome. There's always a text before the session. There's always, you got this, amor. It's going to be amazing. You're amazing. I'm so proud of you. Boom. The message is always sent. And the same thing here when I go to conferences with my team, that I have to be traveling, same thing. Everything is going to be okay. You got this. I believe in you. And those messages, those words, hermano, make a huge difference.
What I love about you two is that in your own right, you're both experts in education, artificial intelligence, in STEM, in computer science, in culturally relevant pedagogies. And what I see online is two individuals. And imagine being a fly on the wall in your house and you guys are working together to build each other up. That's fantastic. Omar.
When we were teaching, we taught in the same school. We were together for 15 years. Our classrooms were right next to each other. So we had the same children at school and we had the same children at home. It was so funny because a lot of people would ask us, how can you all work together? And my response, or our response, was always like, how can you not? Yeah, because for us, it was wonderful working in the classroom because it got to a point where we knew what was at stake. We knew what it took to be an educator. One knew what it having to stay after school for tutoring, not coming home till 6, 7, having to work on Saturdays. All of that we understood because we're in the same fields. Having that understanding or that empathy of what the person is going through because of the work demands, that was really great. Always pushing each other just to be better because we want to also set an example for our children. Partly that's why we're working on our doctoral, is to set an example of, hey, we both came from Mexico. I came from Mexico at the age of 10. We crossed over knowing zero English, having to adjust to a new culture, leaving everything behind and having to start from zero. Fely did it at a later age. So we want to show our children, hey, we did it. Now you got to be better than us, but also be happy. Don't forget about being happy. We want to set that example. And I think that's how we support each other's careers.
If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and share this episode with your family, friends, and colleagues who are interested in self-improvement through lifelong learning. We are winding down with Omar and Fely. Omar, what's one advice do you have for couples who are already in it and they're struggling and facing challenges in their marriage?
Come back to talking it out. Have those conversations, no matter how difficult they are, is having those conversations. Having that trust, as you mentioned, sometimes it's difficult, but trusting the process. We talk about that not everything's gonna be pretty along the way. But like Fely mentioned, I'd be coming back to that. What is our shared vision? What is our ultimate goal? Spending the rest of our lives together, that's the goal. It might not be pretty all the time. It might be challenging, but talk it out, work through, and just trust that the other person is also looking out for your best interest.
Like Omar said, communication, right? Again, communication is key. And you might be thinking, okay, we're trying to communicate, but we just can't. It's okay to ask for help. It's totally okay to ask for help. And it's totally okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are lessons, are opportunities to know the person more, to establish that trust. It's part of creating a relationship. You're going to make mistakes, but you're into the point that we've tried communication, Fely. We tried to talk to each other and we just can't. Ask for help. It's okay. And I'm emphasizing this, hermano, because it might be a cultural thing. And I'm going to say that as a Hispanic, it is very difficult to ask for help, especially when you're in a relationship. I'm talking from my personal experience. So it's that fear of judgment that you're not able to accomplish this by yourself. You have to understand that where people are coming from. And something that I remember when I had the opportunity to be part of the Flip team at Microsoft, we were both still in the same district, the same assignments. When I decided to take this opportunity, a lot of people came to ask us, are you okay leaving? You're not going to be working with Omar. And when he decided to work for Region 1, we heard the same questions. The same people were asking the same questions. Are you okay with Omar working somewhere else? You're not going to be in the same space like you've been for 17 years, because we were together in the same district with the same students, same classrooms. And I remember clearly somebody saying, you really need to take care of your relationship because it's going to be very different. And my response to that was, the only thing that's changing right here, it's our setting, the work that we're going to be doing. Our relationship is only going to get better because we're going to learn more. We're going to grow more. That individuality that we've been talking about, we're going to grow. So I'm going to bring more into the relationship. And the same thing with Omar. Every time he comes home, I'm like, how was your day? What did you learn today? It's the same thing with him. How was your day? What did you learn today? People are going to ask questions and people are always going to criticize. And you don't have to worry about making everybody happy. The person next to you is the person that needs to be happy. And as a result, you will be happy. La familia. He's happy, I'm happy. And vice versa. I'm happy, he's happy. And as a result, our Omarcito and our Fernando are happy. It's just like a chain. It's una cadenita, hermano. It's a cadenita.
Right.
Love
Yeah.
and trust makes that chain. But ¿cómo se llaman los anillitos?
Link.
Those links. There you go. Those links, they make them stronger. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about. But don't be afraid of asking questions and ask for help.
What a perfect way to end the show. Let's put it in the universe. How can people find you both or individually so they can book you to speak at their conference, school, or event? Omar, you first, and then Fely.
X is the best place that anybody can send me a quick message, and it's just at Omar Lopez 0207.
And the same thing here, hermano, on X or Twitter. You can find me as Fely Teachnology or at Fely Teachnology. Other social media channels, you can find me as Fely Garcia Lopez as well. So anything we can help you with, any questions you might have, it's all about love, hermano, and it's all about helping each other.
That's it for this episode. Until next time, this is the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast with George Valenzuela.